What does it take for anybody to be an ethical hacker?
Ethics, you can't have a mark on your record. When you're phishing someone, you're trying to get them when they're just going, click. And very often we find that people who get caught by phishing, 3 seconds after they click the link, they know they've been caught. They realize, I've made a mistake. Then it's too late.
Oh, that's a good one. Just stronger passwords. Our passwords are not strong enough. It's a simple trick. You need to just not trust anyone.
Hi, Herman.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So happy to have you today. Thank you so much for coming. I think what is important for today's podcast is to know who Herman is, what does he do, and talk a little bit about what you like doing, what you dislike doing, how can people learn from your experience, and how we can educate our youngsters. I think this podcast primarily is going to be a lot for youngsters who want to step into this field of ethical hacking, want to know what goes on in the mind of a hacker, and just basically gain knowledge out of it. So maybe we can start by knowing, Herman, people who don't know you, how did you get into cybersecurity?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I studied, after school, I studied computer and electronic engineering. And that's in South Africa, at least where I'm from. When we say engineer, we mean kind of the physics from the individual atoms in the cable all the way through to software programming. And from there, I started just kind of finished university, took the first job that came across, and I ended up coding the human-machine interface for tanks. We in South Africa have quite a military-industrial complex that we export to the rest of the world. And one night I was sitting with a friend at a barbecue and he went, you make things that kill people. And I went, I hadn't really thought of it. That typical straight out of university, doesn't really think about the impacts of your actions. And that Monday I put in my notice and started looking for other work. And I just kind of randomly found a job in cybersecurity. I remember the recruiter said, hey, this is a job I don't recommend to most people, but you're weird enough that I'm going to give it a go. And there, I don't know if you know the Dutch phrase, neus in die bottergeval, but I would say, I could admit my neus in die bottergeval. I just kind of found this job, and since then, I don't see myself in any other industry. Cybersecurity is very much a industry that moves fast, it's fast-paced, it's exciting, and what I tell my young guys is, if you're bored on a project, just wait a week or two, you'll be on something else next week. Because our engagements are so short, it's not these long multi-year engagements.
So when was that moment that you thought this is it?
That's an excellent question. I'd say it's the first time I hacked into something. So before I got this job, I'd known about hacking. My dad is very into computers and IT. And I remember there was a book about ethical hacking on our shelf when I was a kid, and I read it once. And this was like when I was 15. Later, when I was 25 and I got a job as an ethical hacker, I realized, it's the same thing. It's that thing I read about when I was a kid. And I didn't really know how to do it. It was kind of this black box of, they do cool hacker stuff, but I didn't know how. And we can get into the how later, but the first time I popped shell, do you know what that term means? It means, so shell is a command shell, and that's how popped shell means I created a administrator connection or a connection to your device that I can now control it with. So do you know what a command prompt, that scary little black box on your Windows or on your machine that you can type the little things in and it does stuff? That is shell. And the first time I controlled another computer from my computer, it was over for me. It was quite addicting.
Amazing. So you mentioned that, this is how your ethical hacking journey started. What does it take for anybody to be an ethical hacker, or just a hacker for that matter?
So number one is ethics. ethics is you can't have a mark on your record. The reality is my laptop is lying over there. That laptop has actual state secrets on it. It's fully encrypted, but if you work as an ethical hacker, you will get data. You will get into a bank and suddenly be able to read every single email in that bank. What I need from someone in that position is to not do sketchy things with it, just do their job. Steal the money and give the money back afterwards. Beyond that, I'd say huge technical skill, and not just technical skill, but the kind of, figure it out technical skill. I often joke that my years of playing games with my friends and having to set up a weird server so we could play, way more valuable to me than my actual degree, because that's where I learned how to configure a port or set up a DHCP server. And a hacker is someone who just goes, I know how to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. I often joke with my younger guys is hacking is about hitting your head against the wall. And one day you see a little crack. You go, oh, I'm almost there. And you just start hitting your head harder. And the day you realize you're an ethical hacker is the day you realize that you really enjoy that sensation of hitting your head against the wall. And especially that moment when the crack starts forming.
Do you think it's more about technology, or is it more about people, or about
it's people. We have a phrase in hacking: when I'm attacking your organization, I'm attacking your people, your processes, and technology. But the reality is technology, that's, these exploits. You hear about the most recent one in Linux is copy fail, where you can just go from 0 to root very quickly. But the reality of it is, when we do red teams, I always joke, I can just send a phishing email to Susan in finance. If I can convince the people to take a wrong action, I don't need a computer, I don't need an exploit, I don't need any technology. The technology is a kind of baseline, it's like the ticket to enter the get in. But once you're in, you also need a lot of people and social skills to be able to do social engineering.
Yeah. So person needs to be a good psychologist as well.
I personally, I've said before, if I didn't study computers, I would have studied psychology. And psychology is a major element. I have a talk that I do at conferences about the psychology of social engineering, where we dig into why a person clicks that link. And before you get that phishing email, a lot of homework went into trying to figure out how to get you to click that link.
Is there any particular set of people with a kind of a mindset who actually click that link, or is it like anybody and everybody can do that?
It's everyone. If you think you can't be caught by phishing, you are more likely to be caught by phishing. I am a phishing expert. Quite literally, I've done it for almost a decade. I phished millions of people. There's a certain combination of letters and numbers and words in an email that will make me click a link. Everyone has a combination of words that will make you click a link. If you think it doesn't exist, you're just not thinking creatively enough. But literally everyone can get caught. I've phished the security expert at a bank, and he's the guy who should never click on the phishing link. But with him, you take a different tactic. So everyone has a pressure point that will make them do something. For some people, it's their children. For some people, it's family. For some people, it's an idea that they're going to miss out on a good deal. There's all kinds of motivating factors. And if I can figure out your motivating factor, I can make you click the link.
So give me an example of this.
Some examples. I did a phishing campaign once where it was an insurance company and their staff are quite young. So they have an on-campus radio station. And about half that company's campus is just call centers of people trying to sell insurance, helping people with insurance. And this radio station, during the course of my pen test, hacked into this radio station's email. I found that somewhere. And I saw that they send out these really colorful emails very often. So what I did is I made a little website that I hosted in their network, and I said, hey, this Friday, the person who submits their favorite song and people can vote, the best song gets a €500 voucher to the nearby market. And I also then added a little sentence of like, hey, get in there now. This is only open for 1 hour. So there I've gone for the scarcity motivating factor where, hey, it's almost done. You have to go now. That makes them think too fast. And I can get a prize out of this. On that day, out of the employee complement of I only fished or targeted about 500 employees. I got 45 of them to click. Of that, 32 of them gave me their usernames and password. And there was one guy in IT that gave me his password 16 times. He really wanted that prize because he kept submitting it. And something people often forget, and this is maybe a question later, but people often forget that a good phishing attack leaves your target not realizing anything weird happened. So what I did on that one is once you clicked on the website and you submitted the song you wanted to submit, it would send a little message like, oh, sorry, the website is broken. We'll fix it soon. So everyone leaves going, oh, nothing weird happened. I wasn't phished. The website's broken. And it's very important. We call that the trail out. And it's very important to create if your phishing target leaves a phishing event thinking they just got phished, you failed. You need to leave them going, oh, nothing weird happened. Off I go. I'm going to go play golf. That is an environment where, you really need to think about how your target is seeing this.
Is there a way to protect yourself from these kind of emails? How can a human or an employee or anybody for that matter from regular walk of life, protect themselves from these phishing?
So I have a rule with everyone in my company. We recently hired a new planning person, and I explained it to her yesterday, is that I will never be mad at you for checking something with me. No one in this company will be mad at you for checking something. If you get an email from me and you just, we call it out of band. So if you got a message from me on Teams or WhatsApp, give me a phone call, because that's now a different service, and check with me, hey, did you send that invoice? Did you email me that thing? I can say yes or no. Just check. Check with the person who it says sent you that thing. And if that person is frustrated with you, screw them, I'm not going to get hacked. So always check in a different communication channel than the one you're currently receiving that message in.
What do you think people mostly make mistakes online?
Oh, that's a good one. Trust. The modern internet, unfortunately, you need to just not trust anyone. Like, you have to assume you're being attacked at any point in time, because the reality is you probably are. And sometimes just because a website says, hey, I'm this or I do this, doesn't mean it's true. People can just go on the internet and lie.
If you had, maybe we can do something interesting. So if you had 5 minutes to look at my digital life, where would you start? And how long will you take to hack me?
So that depends. It depends on what my target is. So do I want your bank account? Do I want to get data about you? Do I want an area where I'm looking at to attack you physically? So those would all be different.
Financial. Let's
go financial.
Yeah.
Cool. I would start with your social media. So we call this OSINT, open source intelligence. There's a lot of tools on the internet. If anyone at home wants to go try this, there's a really lovely website called www.osintframework.com. It has every tool you need. That's where I started when I started. And it's kind of strange to explain, but it's almost like building a puzzle. And you leave little puzzle pieces in your social media. So maybe you post a selfie and I can see, oh, she keeps posting selfies in this general geographic area. I keep seeing that tree in the background. Now, if I can figure out where that tree or that building is, I can figure out where you live. And maybe I can kind of send you an email and pretend to be someone from the nearby local branch of your bank. And I always say you want to be very careful about what you post online, because as I'm researching you, I'm building this puzzle, putting all the puzzle pieces in place. And you don't always need the full puzzle before you can stand back and go, wait, it's a picture of a duck. So the moment I realize what your picture is drawing for me, that's the one where I can really start doing stuff. But the reality is also, you as an individual are not that valuable to most people. So the most likely thing, if I wanted to target you financially, probably some kind of scam. So I would figure out something you would like to spend a lot of money on. What is something you spend more money on than you should?
That's a question?
Yeah.
Shopping.
Shopping, okay. So I would probably find out products that you really like and create a very realistic website that sells those products at maybe a rate that you just cannot pass up. It's just a little cheaper than the other store. But I need to put in a lot of effort, make it look very legitimate. And at that point, you just pay for it and I don't deliver the product. This is a common scam I used to investigate in South Africa, was what we called pet scams. So they would put up, there's thousands of websites of pet stores that don't exist.
Oh.
And those pet stores have the same photos, all of them, same photos over and over. And then what happens if you email them and go, hey, what puppies do you have? They send you a lovely list of photos, you pick one. Now they say, oh, that's little Stevie. Oh, you're going to love him. He's so cute. Here's a video of him. Now you're emotionally attached. And then they go, cool, if you pay extra, we can put him on a flight. He can be there by Saturday. Now you've got kind of a very high motivation to do something in a very short term. You transfer the money and then you sit there and wait, and you sit there and wait, and it never comes. And what's really funny is they'll then go, oh, something went wrong. We need another 3,000 to pay for the airplane. And then a lot of people just pay the second one and the third one because they don't want to believe that they got scammed. So they'll keep going and going and going. I've seen one where a guy got scammed. I think he was on number 14 before we got involved.
Gosh.
Yeah. And something to warn your viewers about and listeners is a very common tactic these people use to try and convince you, at least in some of the regions I've been in, is number one, they talk about what a man of God or woman of God they are to try and give you a trustworthiness. Oh, I go to church. Why won't you believe me? And people are more inclined to believe people of faith. And then the second thing they do is they send you a photo of their ID book or their passport. That's not their ID book or passport. That's not the person you're talking to. But they will pick a photo of the most trustworthy phenotype in that group. So here in the Netherlands, for instance, it would be a picture of an old lady with like the curly hair. And you go, oh, she's not going to lie to me. Why? And I have her ID. If they steal from me, I go to the police and I show them the ID. You show up at the police, you show them the ID, they go, listen, this lady that lives in Midracht did not attack you. She did not steal your money.
Oh, do hackers really make that kind of an investment and that kind of an effort to actually...
I would say very rarely. There's two types of this kind of thing. We call it spear phishing and phishing for anything. So spear phishing is where I target you. That's where I research you, I look into your life, I start to learn your patterns and everything. That very rarely happens unless you're, for instance, the head of security of a bank or a systems administrator at a very valuable company. We will investigate and spear phish someone if we want to target that person. But the majority of social engineering and scams is they're just throwing it out there en masse. Every time, example is the Odido hack.
Yeah.
And now all those email addresses are out there. I was an Odido customer,
So
and
was I.
don't know if you've noticed, I'm getting a lot of emails offering me stuff.
Okay, I didn't pay attention to that.
Be careful, because now what they do is they download that list and they just send emails to all of us. And it takes them one click to send an email to 100,000 people, and one of them comes back and they make money,
You're done.
well, then it's worth the effort. The ones who didn't fall for it are kind of, whoever you need. And this is a fun little side fact. Have you ever noticed how in phishing emails they often misspell words?
Did you?
Yes. So phishing is or these scams often will have misspelled words in there on
So that
purpose.
is more human.
Number one, it's more human, and number two, I know that an official email from my bank is not going to have misspelled words in it.
Oh, like that.
But someone who reads an email from their bank filled with misspelled words and believes it is also someone who will fall for not just step 1, but step 3, 4, 5, and 6 of the scam. They don't want to talk to me and spend a lot of effort talking to me who won't fall for the scam. So that is called pre-selecting your audience. You're already looking for the person who doesn't pick up on the inconsistencies.
Right. Interesting. These are very good tips. I don't know where I read this, but there was a website which was completely a replica of Krautvat, and they had misspelled the name of Krautvat. But it was a full website. It was completely like Krautvat, same colors, everything pattern, and people were going there and buying stuff.
Yeah. Do you want to know the worst part? If I took out my laptop 15 minutes from now, I could have a copy of the Krautvat website. There's a tool, I can't remember its name, but we use it often when we're doing social engineering, where I can give it a website and it just goes, cool, I'll copy the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And then I just have a logo. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't actually copy all the backend stuff because we can't see the backend stuff. But anything it can see, it can replicate. And now my website looks exactly like the legitimate website.
Wow. How likely is it that while we are talking right now, someone is getting hacked?
Oh, 100%. There's someone being hacked right now everywhere, all the time at once.
Wow.
Everywhere. We've reached pandemic levels on this problem, and frankly, no one seems to have a solution.
Yeah. Why do you think humans are the weakest links?
I need to not talk myself into trouble here. We're very dumb. The reality is a computer follows the code. A computer, when the code says, make this corner of the screen green, or put the picture here, it just does that. Humans, when the thing says, do this, this, and this, humans are the only part of that process that'll go, but I'm lazy, so I'm just going to do it the quick way. And unfortunately, we're the weak link because we can be tricked.
Yeah.
And we believe each other. We trust each other. It's the sad part of what I do is I am manipulating your trust in humanity. I am trying to abuse your very human nature. When a hacker is trying to phish you or scam you, they are very often playing on those very human emotions. And we say, we need to trust each other in society. The problem is the minute you trust each other, now if you get an email, you're going to click the link. Now the hacker wins again.
Yeah. What do you think is the motive, usually the motive behind hackers? What goes inside them?
Financial.
Money, right?
The reality is that our global economy is so unequal that, as an example, in South Africa, a lot of our hackers, the hacks we deal with, are from Nigeria, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe. So South Africa is quite rich in comparison to these countries. So this guy in that country can scam South Africans and make a lot of money, or he can go work at their version of the Albert Heijn and make almost no money. Now compare Europe to most of the third world. why would someone in the third world not just scam people? On the way here, I read an article where there was a famous right-wing influencer account. It was huge, massive. It would make these AI videos, and it would specifically target UK right-wing people and be very anti-Muslim. They found out it was run by a very devout Muslim man who lives in Pakistan. But he made $2,000 a month from it. In Pakistan, that's an immense amount of money to make. It turns out this guy didn't even speak English. He didn't even know what these AIs were saying. So he would post videos. All he knew was he was getting money from being an influencer, but he would make an AI make these videos, but he didn't speak English, so he didn't even understand. And when the reporter who spoke to him explained, listen, you are saying some very anti-Muslim things, he's like, oh my God, and he deleted everything. So it's very often, it's people from poorer countries targeting people from richer countries. And the ethics problem there isn't really there because they dehumanize this rich, fat, these fat cats up there in Europe. Screw them, I'll steal some of their money.
Yeah.
And frankly, as someone from a third world country, I kind of understand that mentality. It's easy to look at these people who, play on the global stage and their governments ruin your country and walk away as if it's nothing. Of course you've got some bad vibes. Of course you're not going to feel bad by taking their money, especially when that money buys your grandmother a house.
Yeah. Well, so anybody who thinks that this cannot happen to me is actually living in a dilemma.
They are deeply delusional. Again, I am a fishing expert. Please don't try to fish me. Leave me alone. But I am a fishing expert and I can be fished. We play internally in my team often where we try to fish each other, just kind of for practice. We catch each other all the time. It turns out it's not about how clever you are, it's about when you get caught. So that's another little pro tip for anyone trying fishing is, like I explained, like you can do scarcity, you can do financial gain, but there's also this thing, and I have a friend who doesn't believe in this, he thinks it's pseudoscience, but a scientist called Daniel Kahneman talked about the two modes of thinking. So we have mode 1 and mode 2. Mm-hmm. Mode 1 is when you've got a giant list of things and you need to get through it. So you're not focusing on individual. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and you need to finish your email so you can go because your kids are waiting to be picked up. That's mode 1. Mode 2 is slow. That's when you're doing your taxes. You're checking every number. And you can't live your life in mode 2 because if you constantly in mode 2, you get nowhere. Sometimes you do just need to scroll through the list and go, that's the thing I need. When you're fishing someone, you're trying to get them in their mode 2, or mode 1. You're trying to get them when they're just going, click. And very often we find that people who get caught by phishing, 3 seconds after they click the link, they know they've been caught. They realize, I've made a mistake. Then it's too late.
Yeah. Interesting. So we spoke about, how a hacker thinks, what should we be careful about? Obviously, we cannot protect ourselves fully, but we can be aware of what's going on. Let's move on to the topic where people who are interested in getting into this domain. How can a person become a pen tester?
So that is an interesting question. I would say number one, my biggest pet peeve, I've interviewed hundreds, I've trained, I think I'm up to 80 hackers. The number one thing that frustrates me is when someone applies to a job as a pen tester and they've never hacked anything. There are a million resources out there, VulnHub, Hack the Box, Try Hack Me. There are a million resources out there for you to legally and safely go try and hack something. When they show up at my interview and they go, oh, I've never hacked anything. You're here to teach me hacking. I'm like, cool. You're like a hairdresser that shows up at an interview and you've never touched hair. You're a runner applying for a job as a runner for a sports team, but you've never run. Go try the thing before you apply. I would also say it's, how do you get into it? You honestly, everyone has their own path. So I've got a friend, when I started in my job, this guy started with me. He didn't have a high school, he just had high school. He didn't have any further education. He just hacked and was really good at it. That guy is currently in the CISO's team of the Bank of England. Like, I've seen people from any walk of life end up as a hacker. It's more about mindset than schooling and education.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you do want to get a job, I would highly recommend getting some certifications. The certifications from INE, like it's pen test, I'm not sure what it's called, Pen Plus or something. They've got some really good qualifications. I know OWASP has some really good qualifications, but the kind of, Ferrari of pen test qualifications is the OSCP. If you can get an OSCP from offensivesecurity.com, that is the thing. I have a policy that if you have an OSCP, you just get an interview immediately. I don't need to see anything else about your CV. I want to talk to you and see if you're good.
Right. Do you need a technical background for this?
Yes and no. The same way I would describe it as, we're here in the Netherlands, Max Verstappen is everywhere. If you look at the history of some of these F1 guys, they were in a go-kart when they were 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds. They're now 25, now they're the F1 guy. The guy who gets in the go-kart at the first time at 15 is behind by a decade, and it's really hard to catch up. So I would say the majority of the really good hackers, like I'm talking these top tier hackers, are people who grew up in a house with a lot of technology around them. Maybe the mom or the dad was really into computers and brought a computer into the house. The way I describe it to me is my dad gave me a computer when I was 6 or 7 and I would break it and I had to fix that thing before he got home or I was in trouble. And that's where I learned a lot of my figuring out computer skills. But I've also seen, we had a lady who she was a mortgage adjuster and then she just realized she hated it. She did her OSCP, she came to work for us and she didn't have that depth of technical skill, but she also brought a new kind of perspective to the problem. And she's one of the people that makes me think, frankly, anyone can do it. It's all about wanting it a lot. Because I won't lie to you, pen testing is hard. You are literally asking someone to break into a building or a bank or a business. And that's hard. If it was easy, anyone would do it. So you really need to have a passion for figuring out the puzzle. I'd say you should do pen testing if you can't let a problem go. Because the best pen testers are those that wake up at 3 a.m. and go, oh, I've got it. And then they write down a quick thing and then they go back to sleep. Then the next morning they look at what they've written and they go try it.
And what kind of career path do these people have?
Well, it's varying. I'd say here in the Netherlands, it's mostly what they call HBO.
Yeah.
Technical university. But I would say I have found that the very good proper engineers, and I'm not talking the colloquial term, I'm talking like the university degree being a bachelor's in engineering. These guys make excellent hackers because they kind of understand the technology stack from the top to the bottom. But I've also found that system administrators are excellent hackers because they kind of they work with these tools for years as a system administrator. And when they get a job as an ethical hacker, often all you need to do is teach them how to abuse the tools they already know how to use.
Right.
It's like knowing how to drive your car, and one day I just show up and I go, you can drive it off the road too. It's the same skill to drive the car, you're just driving it somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I would say anyone who has a true passion for technology will do well, because it's all about just keeping going and trying and trying and trying and never giving up. And you can figure out the technology and the stuff by Google, it's all there.
Yeah.
So you just need to keep asking questions.
So would you say certification versus experience? What is more important?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I take experience over certifications, but that's more because I've moved from one country to another, and I've learned the sheer gap in what certain certifications mean. Where there are, in some countries, certain certifications mean a lot, and some they mean a lot less. Where experience, if you've hacked stuff, I know you can hack stuff. So experience is more important than certifications, but certifications aren't nothing.
Okay, interesting. So let's say I've done my certification. I'm not from the technical background, but I still went ahead, did my certification. Now I want to get a job. Where should I go to get my first opportunity? What are the places that you think a youngster should go to?
So I would say apply to most big audit firms all have pen test teams. So the big fours, the Deloittes, the PricewaterhouseCoopers, all these big companies have pen test firms. Then, there's just pen test companies all over the world.
Yeah.
Find them and apply to them. I would also say, and the other hiring managers are going to hate me for this, pop me a message. Pop me a message on LinkedIn and go, hey, I saw your team. How do I get an interview? It's a lot better than, here's my cover letter that an AI wrote. Here's my CV that an AI wrote. When I do recruitment, I look at batches of 50 CVs at a time. They all start looking the same. Differentiate yourself. Message the person, we're all human beings, come talk to me like I'm a human being and go, hi, I'm looking for a job in hacking. Do you have any space in your team? Would you maybe recommend me to anyone? Is there a chance I could show you what I can do?
Yeah.
I'd say a second thing here is often I ask these guys, cool, so what do you have to show for me? The same way an artist has a portfolio, a good hacker or a good techie has a GitHub. I need to see something you've done. And it is kind of depressing because, you have to work before you can get the job. But I need to see that you're contributing to the community. Or we as hackers, we stand on the shoulders of giants. I use tooling I didn't write, I didn't create. It's just open source and on the internet made by another great hacker.
Right.
And if you're really part of the tech community, I expect you to be contributing to that tech community. And when I see someone in an interview that already is contributing to the tech community, I see them as understanding that, hey, it's all just one big sharing party and you're already contributing. So now I can see that you're in it.
Yeah. So you need to see something. Don't come to me completely fresh.
Exactly.
Have something at the back of your hand that you can show that I have some experience, I've got the knowledge.
To add on to that, especially seeing something on your GitHub, some projects you created, or especially have a story prepared of how you hacked something on one of these platforms, Hack the Box, whatever, but tell me the story of how you hacked something, because then I can hear how you think through a hacking problem, and you've shown me that you can do the thing. Right. So again, you summarized it so perfectly. Don't show up empty-handed. It means you just show up with your little certificate, and it's like, congratulations, you're one of 800 with that certificate. Yeah. It means nothing. Differentiate yourself.
How do you, or for you, what is the most important skill you would need for someone to join your team?
Problem solving. So when I interview candidates, I've got a list of about 15 questions. I usually pick 10 to just randomly ask them. And all of those are very technical questions that you either can just know the answer to, or if you're really clever and you can figure out the answer. So I'll often ask a question knowing that the other person doesn't know the answer. And then I'll just kind of give them 3 or 4 pieces of the puzzle, and I'll sit there and they'll go, okay, what if we do this and this? I need to see problem solving ability.
Right.
So technical skill, kind of good, but you can learn that. Problem solving is a core skill set for our people. Thinking creatively around a problem.
Right. Okay. Let's zoom out a bit and talk about the future of hacking. So let's talk about AI. AI probably is playing a very big role in hacking these days.
Yes.
So tell me, how is AI changing the ways of hacking?
AI it's difficult because the technology is almost there but not there. So a lot of people think, these AI hacking tools are going to make it all easy. I spent a lot of time interviewing these vendors that create these products. None of them actually work as well as they say on the tin. I personally don't use AI for almost anything, especially writing. Guys, stop writing your stuff with AI. You all sound exactly the same. It is very frustrating. My voice is my competitive advantage. Why would I genericify all my text?
Yeah.
I suddenly sound like everyone with M dashes and a bunch of bold all over. It makes you you disappear into the crowd. Stand out, be yourself, be unique, have spelling errors, who cares? But I would say there's a lot of talk of products like Mythos. To kind of set the time here, if you're listening to this later, Mythos had just come into the news, and it's a bit of a weird one because I can see a world where that happens, but I also see a world where, the company who makes the AI says the AI is too good at hacking, but they don't release it publicly, so we can't test it. But it's the same as Albert Heijn saying their chocolates are the best. Why would I trust the guy who makes the product to evaluate their product safely? But what they're talking about with AI, I currently have an intern who's working on a way to automate all the boring parts of our job. So, for instance, when we're hacking, we're checking a lot of configurations. When we're doing web application hacking, we're checking a lot of headers, because if there's certain headers not there, we can exploit it in certain ways. And he's recently taken that and built a custom AI agent that we throw that into, and it finds vulnerabilities for us. It's very cool, and it's, the first corner. The way I put it to him this morning is he's put the corner pieces into the puzzle, now I need him to fill in the rest of the puzzle. So in theory, these technologies are very powerful. I've just not really seen the reality of it. But it's just like the video 2 years ago, it was all garbled and broken. Now there's videos tricking me on the internet of bunnies on a trampoline.
Yeah.
So we need to keep remembering this is the worst this technology will ever be. And it's already kind of good. So I don't want to be the idiot who says it will never be there, but I don't think we're quite there where the AIs are taking over the hacking world, but it's not impossible.
So with this, do you think, is it becoming more complex or is it becoming more secure?
The reality of most things is that most software has vulnerabilities in it. And it's not being exploited just because no one's figured it out yet. No one's found that bug yet. With an AI, AIs don't eat, they don't sleep, they just go. So what we can do, have you ever heard the term fuzzing? So fuzzing is where there's an input field and we just keep putting in weird inputs. Okay. And we're waiting for the system to react differently than it usually does. So we'll have systems that look at what it responds with, and the minute it responds slightly differently, we'll put it in hey, this is interesting, go check it out. and then we'll interrogate it and maybe we can exploit that. With an AI, I can now fuzz infinitely. It's become a real problem where software packages used to be manually hacked and picked apart by hackers. Now with something like Claude Code, one of my colleagues or one of my team members recently got Claude Code, and he is finding zero-day vulnerabilities in software left, right, and center, but it still requires an expert to operate it. A day might come where you don't need that expert in the seat anymore, but the reality of current AI is you still need an expert to verify the output because it will just hallucinate wildly. So I'd say we're not doomed yet, but there's definitely some fires burning off in the distance.
Do you agree that the human in the loop, like you mentioned, it might disappear in few years, and then what happens to your jobs?
I'd say I don't think the human in the loop's ever going to disappear, just purely because, we're all humans. If we automate all the jobs, what do all the people do?
Can we even automate all the jobs?
There's definitely some jobs that can be automated, but I also think we will go through a cultural shift. I don't know if you've noticed it in yourself, but I place immensely less value in something when I know an AI created it.
Yes.
I just ignore it, because my argument is, if you didn't even write your email, why must I read it? So I think, yes, we can automate a lot of this stuff. It's still going to be done by humans because humans want to interact with humans. We pretend this world is a digital world. No, the digital world came after all the people there, and we built it on top of us. We're not going to just zoop, all the humans are gone and now the computers are all chatting to each other. Do you think where's all the people gone?
Okay.
So the people will need jobs. Maybe some jobs become less important. When we made the car, we didn't kill all the horses. Horses are still around. They're just doing other things than transporting humans.
Yeah.
In that same way, I think it might end up in a world where instead of a team of 15, I need a team of 5. So we can automate and become more efficient. But I really don't think we're going to lose the human in the connection, just because that's the point of a job, is for people to have something to do and get money so they can feed their families. And there will always be stuff we need to do. And here in the real world, at least until we have, robot butlers, there will still be humans in the loop somewhere.
Yeah. And talking about 5 years or 10 years down the line, where do you think pen testing would stand when AI has taken over? What kind of positions should people today prepare for, the youngsters, where they feel, okay, this skill is not going to be replaced by AI. We should start learning that today.
I'd say anything in a human where you interact with other humans. That's not going anywhere because people hate interacting with AIs. I recently got on a call line when AI answered and it sounded like a human. I got so upset I cancelled my contract with that company. It's just so creepy. But I would say pen testing, I don't see it going anywhere. We might shift from the world where we use AIs to hack the systems, but every time there's a new technology, I'm still going to need humans to go hack that technology. We might just be hacking the AIs, because now if everyone has an AI, they'll still need me to test if that AI can be hacked.
Yeah.
So I don't really see pen testing going anywhere. As long as there are people and computers and people are doing stupid things, a job will exist in pen testing. I do worry that something like a SOC role, Security Operations Center role, these are analysts who just, as the alerts come in, review them. That's something that an AI can do quite easily. It can parse the text, it can understand what's happening, but there's still going to be a human being who needs that alert. So incident response in cybersecurity is still very safe.
Threat intel?
Threat intel, yes, definitely. I would say that's that one's kind of on the knife's edge because the AIs can scrape the internet so quickly for all that intel. But who's that intel for? So if it's for a hacker, there still needs to be a hacker. But collecting threat intel, honestly, is one of those that I could see getting automated kind of out of the bubble. But I don't really buy into the hype that we're all going to lose our jobs next week, just purely because our societies would crumble overnight. It doesn't fit into the pattern. I think these AIs will be embraced and they'll just get better. But I also studied the math behind AI at university. And I have a friend who recently got an AI degree, and we often debate about this stuff. And the reality is that all these AIs, they're just not as clever as they all think they are. The people who make them have a financial incentive into tricking us into thinking they can do all these magical things. And I'm not saying it's not a great piece of technology, but it's the difference between the camera I had on my first Nokia phone and the 4K 5x zoom I have now on my phone. Those are both cameras, but they're wildly different in what they can do. And I think we're way more in the Nokia camera age of AIs. It's very similar. I feel like we're in... Do you remember when everyone started buying 3D TVs and the stupid glasses? I don't know anyone who still uses those.
No, it gives me headaches.
But we all went, we're all going to be watching football in 3D now. No one does. Because there was a marketing drive to convince us that this is the future. The same marketing drive I saw then, I'm seeing with AI. And I'm not saying that technology is going nowhere. 3D movies still exist. Some people use their 3D glasses to watch on the same screen 2 different TV shows. Those are all valid use cases. But at the end of the day, these are just not these magic everything boxes everyone is saying they are. They're just very clever chatbots.
Right. This, while you were talking about that you got really upset talking to an AI bot, 2 days back I was talking to one of the HR managers and they were saying that we would like to introduce our recruitment agent who could do like a first line interview. And I was thinking, if I had to be a participant, and if I had to talk to a bot, it will freak me out.
I'd feel so dehumanized.
The first thought I got was, where is all this information going that I'm telling? I don't know. Is he even understanding what I'm saying? Does he understand my emotion? But there are a lot of questions in your mind. It just creeps me out when I'm not talking to a human.
And I have the same thing where if I applied at a job and they made me do an interview with a robot first, this might be just a self-respect thing, but I'd say, thank you, I'd find something else. Like, I don't want to interact with that. And this is we as humans have always valued effort. Back in the day, having pale skin used to be very in fashion because it showed that you were rich and you could stay inside. Now that it's easy to stay inside and be pale, having a tan is very popular because it shows you have free time so you can be outside. Our ideas of what ideals are not locked in as humanity. And if AI makes certain things easy, it'll just make those things not as fancy, not as impressive to do. And it just kind of comes down to it again. If you want to put in so little effort to talk to me that you're sending your robot to do it, I don't want to talk to your robot. And then people go, but you get your robot, your AI, to interact with their AI. And now it's just AI writing emails, being read by AIs, and it's, do you want to live in that world or do you just want to email people? It feels like we have a technology and now we're trying to put it everywhere. Instead of going, what is this technology useful for? Let's use it in those areas. And just like 3D TV, it will find its niches, it will find where it settles and become very popular there. It's not going anywhere, but it's not going to be this omnipresent thing in life. And the last thing I'd say is we really need to figure out what we're going to do, because I've seen some, in my personal life, in my professional life, some cases of like severe AI psychosis, especially older people, not quite understanding that they're talking to a computer and not understanding what's going on. Next thing you know, they're changing their decisions. I saw a video the other day of some famous woman saying, I asked an AI what I should do for my diet, and it made up a diet where they just ate red meat, and it said Oprah followed this diet. When she researched it, it's all made up. So it's people who don't understand the limitations of the technology are using it. Ooh, I've got a great metaphor for you. Your car, you could get in your car and go to Amsterdam from here. And that would be a valid use of your car. You can also get in your car and before you're even out of this town, kill 12 people. Is that true? If you just drove over human beings, you could kill them.
You could.
It's the same tool used in two very separate ways.
Yeah.
AI is an incredibly powerful tool. And it feels like we just kind of handed it to everyone, handed everyone a loaded gun and said, there's your loaded gun. Good luck. Do with it what you will. And I'm just like, there's some people we shouldn't have handed a loaded gun to. And it's going to get really, really awkward and weird soon.
Yeah. Well, I guess the time will tell if we are talking to robots in an interview or not.
Next year, your AI will interview my AI about ethical hacking.
Or someone else is sitting here. Okay, let's move on to our next round, which is the rapid fire round.
Fun.
So I'm going to throw 10 questions at you. Whatever comes in your mind first, speak it up. Okay, I think we've done this, but one skill every hacker must have.
One skill every hacker must have. Basic scripting. So I always say you get software developers and you get hackers. A software developer makes software that works all the time, every time, forever. A hacker, when we create software, we need it to work once, one time, just for 3 seconds. If it worked for that second and I get my account and I pop a shell and I take over your computer, that's software, I can throw it in the bin, it's gone.
Right.
So I would say scripting, especially a language like Python, will do you a lot of good in your life.
Great. If you had to hack someone here, how long would it take you to?
Someone here in this room?
In this room?
Well, you're the only one, so best of luck. It kind of depends. Some people are easier, some people are harder. If you gave me more of, let's say, the shopping center next to you, if I got to pick out of 30 people, I can promise you there's at least one of them where it's 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
But the reality is, you as an example, and I'd maybe ask, what do you mean by hack? Steal your money?
Mm-hmm.
Month or two?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I need to figure out where your motivating factors is, what you find valuable, and I need to figure out the scam you'd fall for.
Yeah.
And that requires a lot of knowing about you,
Yeah.
but there's definitely something we'd all fall for.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Dark web, scarier than reality or overhyped?
Fully overhyped. The reality is dark web is just weird websites. I'd say, have you heard of the app Telegram?
Yes.
Telegram is scarier than the dark web nowadays.
And why?
Telegram, I don't know if you noticed during COVID, that's where the major market for fake COVID vaccine certificates were. You can buy weird stuff on Telegram. If you go into the groups of Telegram and you just start searching stuff, the thing about Telegram is, I use Telegram with my friends and my colleagues because it's not logged, it's not anything. But that also means for the bad actors, it's not logged, it's not anything. What dark web just means is so you know when you go to www.facebook.com, with the dark web, that address is just a very hyper-specific one, and you need to connect something equivalent to a VPN before you can get there. But you could download that software in 15 minutes. If you didn't know where to go in the dark web, you wouldn't find anything. So you need to know the exact address of where you're going. There are assassins and drugstores and the Silk Road, but the majority of dark web websites is just tech nerds talking about anime with their friends. It's not that scary.
Okay. Password 123 still alive in 2026?
Oh yes, it's horrifying. I remember thinking, oh, this will never happen. Like when I saw it in like training when I was still to this day I see it all over the show. The idea that people have matured. No, someone will still pick password 123. The best way I can describe it is when I started, and this was now, I'm aging myself, but 15 years ago, as a little baby junior hacker, I remember a colleague turning over and going, this is SQL injection. This is a vulnerability, it's starting to disappear. Nowadays, most platforms defend against it by default. You're seeing the last little trail of SQL injection. That was in 2014. We're here in 2026, and my employees still find SQL injection all over the show. And we were very optimistic about certain vulnerabilities and things like password 123 going away. They've got a long tail. I've started to accept that it's never going away.
Wow. Okay. Who's easier to hack, a company CEO or an intern?
Oh, that's a difficult question. Oh, that's an excellent question. Easier to hack. I'd say it depends on the company, it depends on the CEO, it depends on the environment, and it depends on the intern. But if you forced me to answer, I'd say probably the CEO.
Yeah, that was in my mind too.
Yeah. The problem is they think they're so clever, where the intern still has self-doubt. And they would go, ooh, this is wrong. Where CEOs have this aura of, I can never do anything wrong, so click, 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 click.
And they're also quite high level, quite away from the operations.
I've got a lovely story for you if you have a second for that.
Yeah.
We did a red team against a bank in South Africa once, and we just randomly got into the CEO's secretary's account. Because she had a bad password, because she was a 22-year-old girl straight out of university and didn't understand how a computer worked. You know, this typical stereotype of the girl painting her nails and going, click, do you want to talk to him? Okay, sir, he's here. That kind of girl. She had a terrible password. We got into her account. But because the CEO was such a, old school businessman, he would get all the company's financial reports emailed to this woman, and she would email them to him. So her account had every single financial report, everything about this bank, where every cent was, everything you would need to do insider trading, she had there for the last 20 years in her account. So I don't need to hack your CEO. I hack your CEO's secretary, because she's got the same access he does, especially if it's an older guy who doesn't quite understand his computer.
Wow. Well, that's how you actually target people, right,
Yeah.
in the company.
The weakest link on the chain.
Link. Yeah. Okay, biometrics, fingerprint, Face ID, future-proof or a risky shortcut?
Nothing's future-proof, but I do quite like biometrics. It is very hard to fake a fingerprint. It is possible. I have had colleagues who did the gummy bear trick, where you just press a gummy bear into a finger and then you press it against. I've had people lift fingerprints off scanners and put them on. There's a lot you can do, but a fingerprint is harder to fake than a password, or harder to steal than a password.
Yeah. Okay.
But not future-proof. At the end of the day, technology will catch up, and 3D printers, especially as they get better and better, very quickly, if you have a picture of someone's fingerprint, I bet you can 3D print a little finger that goes over.
Yeah. Okay. What's easier, hacking a system or convincing a human?
Convincing a human. Often the system is very easy, but the success rate on the human is higher.
Okay. If you could delete one bad habit everyone has online, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. Just stronger passwords. Our passwords are not strong enough. I always say if you could type your password in first try, it's not strong enough. My passwords are all 64 characters and up.
What?
And it's a simple trick. I use passphrases. So a sentence like, that garbled mess that they taught you was a strong password? That's incredibly hard to remember, right? Where the log is next to the fireplace.
Or just a song.
Song lyrics. Pick a song lyric
Yeah.
and add some numbers and acronyms to the end. Who's gonna? People can fuzz song lyrics,
Or
but
maybe in a different language. Like for me, I could do it in Hindi and write
yes,
it in English.
that's a very good tip. I local languages because often these word lists try English.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, books, like there's a bunch of books here, pick a random one, go to a random page, that sentence. How would anyone know that's your password? And it's really easy to remember the quick brown fox jumps over the large hedge twice on a Wednesday.
Or just do password managers.
Ooh, yes. Password managers, but at the end of the day, you're still going to have passwords that you need to actually type, like your password manager's password. Passphrases. Everyone go look up passphrases. It will make your life so much more secure.
Cool. Okay. If you had to give 3 rules for staying safe online, what would they be?
Number one, if you get an email, Number one, if it seems too good to be true, it is. Number two, if you get something and you feel sketchy, trust your gut. Your gut is often picking up on something that you're not picking up on. And to add to that, if you get an email for something from someone you know, just call them out of band, figure out if it's real. Number 3.
Okay, 2 are fine.
Stop trusting everything.
Okay.
It's a good idea to be a little bit more untrusting on the internet. Going on the internet and trusting everyone is like going to the center of your city and just trusting everyone who shows up to you.
Yeah.
Of course, the crazy guy wearing his underpants on his head, he's not someone you should trust.
Yeah.
And on the internet, for some reason, we all trust him.
Yeah, because you don't see him.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So one piece of advice for your younger self.
Oh, move to Europe earlier. Oh, it's nice here. It's something I noticed when I went from South Africa to here is the market is so much bigger, the environment is so much bigger, the budgets are bigger. There's just more of everything, and I get to interact with technologies here that I never really got to play with down there.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different environment up here.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you, Herman. It was such an enlightening talk with you. We touched upon so many different topics, but I think what stayed with me was your ethical hacking experience and the kind of examples you gave. It is a very scary world out there, but I think I would still like to believe that trusting people should not leave the world. It is something that humanity stands on. It is sad that people are using it unethically, but I still would like to keep my little fairy wonderland of trusting people.
And we need people like you. I would say, as much as I advocated for not trusting everyone, it's sometimes good to leave the non-trusting to jaded people like myself in the industry. And just every now and then when you feel, this feels weird, then you don't trust. But feel free to still trust your fellow man. Because frankly, a world where we don't trust each other, it's not one I want to live in.
No, it's very, awkward.
Yes.
But great, it was lovely having you, Herman. I'm sure people will enjoy the conversation, and We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.